I'm Jeff Butler, and this is Brittany Partridge. We're lawyers at the Butler law firm. We want to talk today about a recent settlement for $150,000 in a dog bite case.
Yes, so our client was 84 years old at the time of this incident. He was visiting his daughter in Johns Creek, Georgia. It was off of Spring Breeze Terrace. It's just a normal suburban neighborhood in Johns Creek, which is in Fulton County. One morning he took his dog on a walk around the neighborhood. There's only one side of the road that has a sidewalk, and he was on that side of the sidewalk passing a different neighbor who was walking a German Shepherd. As he tried to walk past that neighbor, the German Shepherd attacked him and his little dog, and he wound up falling to the ground. Because of the fall, he sustained a broken wrist as well as a broken hip and had to have surgery.
In cases like this, one of the things that we look for is a history of the dog being aggressive, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But another thing often is what is a leash ordinance or a leash violation. So here, there was someone else walking the dog, but they couldn't control the dog. I think the dog started out on a leash.
It was, yes.
But the dog breaks away. So at the time of the attack, when the larger dog attacks our older client, his smaller dog, there's the owner of the dog has violated the leash law because the dog isn't controlled on a leash. The dog's running across the street to attack. So that's sort of one way that we find liability in a case like this. We show the leash law or the leash ordinance has been violated. Another, and the sort of more well-known way in a dog attack case, is through showing that the dog had a propensity to act in a violent way. One thing we believe in strongly at our firm is witness work, and so we get out there and use shoe leather, hit the ground, and actually talk with some folks. And we ended up speaking with some people in the neighborhood who said, yeah, this dog was a problem, and we knew it, and the owners knew it. It's one thing to have that told to you by a witness, but another to lock it down in sworn testimony, which is something that we do a lot of. And this is how. You may have heard of an affidavit. It's just a fancy word for sworn testimony in written form. So here is an affidavit drafted by our firm and signed by a witness with whom we sort of work to get the language right. It talks about the dog, and we'll just go over the important parts of it now. The witness says, yeah, they got this German Shepherd puppy. And it became clear that it was a problem. The language I've highlighted says the dog would frequently come at us or jump toward us like it wanted to get us. So that's interesting, but that's not the main point. The main point comes with specific stories of when the dog acted aggressive and the owner knew about it. So part one of that is in paragraph 6. This tells a story about the person who's signing this said the dog came out of the house and charged at the witness's daughter, and the daughter was skateboarding at the time, had to use the skateboard to fend the dog off. So this is an example. It shows this dog had aggressive tendencies, but paragraph 6 alone doesn't establish that the owners of the dog knew about it. So that's what paragraph 7 is for. In that one, the witness says, look, I went to the house of the owner, I talked with him, and I told him about the scary running with the dog, and said that's just not acceptable. I mean, you can't do that. When someone's going for a walk in their own neighborhood, they have a right to feel safe, and that's the point this witness was making.
Yes, and sometimes we wonder, who pays for a situation where a dog attack or dog bite's involved. And actually, homeowners insurance a lot of the time will cover this sort of attack. There are usually two situations where homeowners insurance applies. One, if somebody gets injured at your house, if they fall down the stairs, if they slip on a rug, your home insurance can cover that sort of situation. Second is if somebody that lives in your house hurt somebody else. And that's how this situation came about, because the owner of the home could not control their dog. And because they could not control their dog, our client was injured.
So the collectability comes from a homeowner's insurance policy. What we sometimes find is that the insurance policy just isn't enough to cover the damages. And here our client was seriously hurt. There were broken bones, and at an age where that's a really serious thing. A lot of times, if there's not enough insurance and the defendant doesn't have a lot of personal assets, and frankly most people don't in the context of the serious injuries that we deal with, our client can face a really hard situation because there's just not enough insurance. And sometimes, to be frank, there's nothing that can be done about that. But occasionally, in special circumstances, we're able to make an offer, and if the insurance company doesn't respond as they should, then we can collect above the limit. So here, we made an offer to the insurance company and gave them a chance to pay the policy limits to settle the case, but they didn't do it right. They failed to accept that offer. And this is what enabled us to later hold them liable above the policy limits. There's a whole bunch of sort of legal, technical stuff that goes on there, but basically we're able to sell the case for $150,000, which was well above the insurance limits that are available, took care of all our clients' medical bills and quite a bit more. So we ended up with a good case and a happy client.